Hello and welcome to another episode of the WIPdown. My name is Stacy. I am the host of the Stress Knits podcast over on YouTube. I am also the dyer behind Stress Knits Yarn, and yeah, I think that's about it. So it has been a while since I've done an episode of the WIPdown. I haven't had projects that are in the right spot to talk about, so I'm going to do a quick recap in case you are new or it's been a while since you've seen one of these. The WIPdown is brought to you by my lovely patrons. They see these videos first. There's a loud motorcycle going by. They see these videos first, but the reason that I'm able to do these videos is because of my lovely patrons, so there will be a link below if you want to join in. Yes, so I take my favorite WIP at the moment, and I talk to you about it more in depth than I would on a normal video podcast episode. So excited to share this with you. I have been dreaming of this garment since it came out last summer, so summer of 2019. That is the Rift by Jacqueline Cieslak. It is an amazing pattern. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the pattern, including gauge and sizing and all of that good stuff. So it is an incredibly size inclusive pattern. It is finished circumference. So the finished garment goes from a 40-inch bust to a 72-inch bust. And that is with 6 to 12 inches of positive ease, depending on what you want. It's just so good. It's just so good. And it's really nice to see something, because I really like more flowy, slightly oversized clothes. It's what I feel the most comfortable in. And it's really hard to find something for somebody with, I have a 44-inch bust, and oversized garments are not designed with people with larger busts in mind. So this is really, really exciting that you can have up to 12 inches of positive ease, which is what I've knit this at, because I wanted it to be the perfect flowy t-shirt that I can wear year-round with a pair of jeans or a skirt or shorts, and it'll just be perfect. So that's that. It calls for a sport weight yarn. She knit hers in a linen blend. It has 50% non-superwash merino, 25% cotton, 15% linen, and 10% silk. And that is Little Fox Yarn Linea yarn, which I felt in person. It is beautiful. Highly recommend that. But I will say I had a really hard time getting gauge. Now we're still in COVID, right? It is June 15th, 2020. And so even though things are starting to open up, the COVID pandemic is still going. So I have been having a really tight gauge during this time. Usually I'm pretty, normal to loose knitting, where I have to go down a needle size. It's usually what happens, but now I've been having to go up a needle size or two to get gauge. So I originally knit this pattern in my hand-dyed yarn, my sport weight yarn, and I knit the entire garment except for the sleeves and the neckline, which I don't have it now because it's already frogged. But I think once I measured it, because I was looking at it, I was like, well, maybe it'll block out, maybe it'll grow, and it grew in length, but when I blocked it wider, it still wasn't very large. It was like a 38, 39, maybe 40-inch bust. If you hear that, it's garbage day, so they're picking up, I think that's the recyclable truck at the moment. I'm gonna grab some coffee. Bear with me. I love a good pun. Okay, so yeah, that one didn't work out. So I And I didn't gauge swatch for that because this garment has 6 to 12 inches of positive ease recommended. And I was knitting the size 56, which gives me 12 inches of positive ease. And I was like, oh, that is plenty of positive ease. I don't have to worry about a gauge because it'll fit, it'll be great. And my gauge was so off that it was smaller than the smallest size of the pattern. So I will say gauge was super important here. I ended up gauge swatching. I don't know if I have the gauge swatch anymore at my desk. I need to organize. I do have it. Okay, so this is my gauge swatch. I went up a needle size to a US 9. The pattern calls for a US 8. And then I also went up a yarn weight. Is that how you put it? So instead of a sport weight, I'm using DK, and I also went up a needle size. And I got gauge right on. So I am still knitting the size 56 for the 12 inches of positive ease. Yes, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little nervous about how long I knit it because this is a cropped tee and I added about 3 inches. So we'll see how it goes, but maybe this is something I just wear like over leggings. This is a pattern I can see myself coming to time and time again because even just the pattern without any of the modifications that are written into the pattern, it's just such a perfect, versatile top. It is incredibly simple to make. So I'm going to show you where I'm at. So I finished the front. I have ends everywhere because I'm alternating and all of that jazz. So I'm doing the boat neck. So it'll sit right here. Yeah. I'm excited. I love a good crew neck, boat neck. So this is the front. And then I'm currently working on the back. So this is where I am on the back. And I love it. I love it so much. This garment is knit bottom up, and you start, because there is a split hem on the bottom, as you can see here. There's a split hem, and then you also have this beautiful slip stitch detail down the entire side, both sides. And it's beautiful. So that's really amazing. Let's talk about the modifications written into the pattern. There is a custom fit bicep, which is really great. It's something I've never really seen before, so that's amazing. So if you need a smaller bicep than the one in your size, or if you need a larger one than the one that will fit your bust size, that is so great. I've never looked at bicep measurements, so it's just really amazing that Jacqueline, my hair is everywhere, that Jacqueline put in that detail and that information on how to do a custom fit bicep and gives you the formula, and all you have to do is plug your measurements in, which is amazing. There's also bust darts in this pattern. Now, I will say that I tried to do the bust darts in my first one, but they're German short rows, and I did not pull my short row tight enough, because when you do German short rows, you have to pull it pretty tight, and I did not do that, so there were holes, and you don't really want holes where your boobs are, so that was my mistake. I think one of the next times I knit this pattern, because again, I could see myself knitting this at least once more, depending on how this one fits. And I may try the bust darts. I think it's a really interesting concept. I will say my measurements, I just barely fit the criteria for the bust darts, so I don't know if I would. I don't know, but I think it's a really interesting concept, because for those of us who have had larger bust sizes for the majority of our lives, you'll know that when you wear a shirt, it always rides up in the front because there's more surface area here. So shirts are always just a little bit shorter, and that's not always what you want. Sometimes it's fine, but sometimes it's like, I really needed this to be a normal length shirt. So I think that's such a great way to make this inclusive pattern even more inclusive. And then, if those two modifications weren't enough, there are options to add longer sleeves if a short sleeve tee is not your thing. And there are also 2 different necklines that you can choose from. There is a V-neck and a boat neck, and you can put either one wherever you want. So for mine, I'm doing a boat neck on both sides because that's just what I prefer to wear. I've seen people do a boat neck up front and a V-neck in the back, and a V-neck in the front and a boat neck in the back. I will say the pattern suggests that you don't do a V-neck on both sides, but that is also an option, I guess, if you would like to do that. This pattern is just written so well. It is so clear. I will say, since I've knit this twice now, I do get a little caught up in my head about the shaping of the neckline and the shoulder panels. And that's simply because I mostly knit top down. So I have no idea what's normal. I have no idea what normally happens with a bottom up. So that's new for me, and I think it's just me not being super aware of how things work, if that makes sense. But if you just read the pattern, read through it quite a few times, and just follow it, you will get the result that you need. And then once I finish the back portion, and I have the same thing here, so I have the left front shoulder panel. I will 3 needle bind off these together, and it creates this cute little thing. And then I pick up for the sleeve, and I think I knit like a 1/2 inch or an inch, and I then pick up again in the neckline, which is good. Just to finish it off just a little bit. So I'll pick up the neckline and knit like a row or 2 and bind off there as well. So it's such an amazing pattern. It's so good. And it's one of those where you read through it, and Jacqueline has literally thought of everything. Every question, every modification, every issue that people would have in a garment, Jacqueline has gone, I can fix that for you, and here is how. It is just such an amazing pattern, and I highly, highly recommend everybody make one. It is so perfect, and I will say, again, I knit mine longer because that's what I prefer, but for my size, the size that I'm knitting is a 56. I'm only going to use 3 skeins of DK. So my DK is 250 yards. So that's 750 yards for a t-shirt. I'm down. Yeah, I don't know, it's a pattern that everybody could use in their wardrobe because it's simple. You can make it longer like me if you want to wear it with more of more like a t-shirt, like a casual kind of thing, or you can put it over a dress if you make it cropped. You can wear it with a skirt, you can wear it with high-waisted pants, or heck, you could wear it with, do people even wear lowriders anymore? I don't think so. I think all of us like being, we like having high-waisted. But if you But if you want it as like a true crop top, you can also totally wear it as a true crop top. It is just the perfect pattern. I cannot sing its praises enough. I am so glad that I did a knit along for it because it's amazing. And I'm really excited that I'm going to have this done probably by the end of tomorrow. Really excited. So that is the Rift by Jacqueline Cieslak. I highly recommend it. I think it is just the perfect tee pattern. It is great summer knitting. There's not a whole lot of thinking. It's very potato chippy, just something simple to sit down and knit on, and you only really have to think on the side panels, but you have stitch markers that break this up anyway. So you come to a stitch marker and you're like, okay, I have to think for X amount of stitches, and then back to not thinking and stockinette. Yes. So again, everybody should make this pattern. It'll be linked in the show notes below. Yes. Have you knit a Rift? Do you love it as much as I do? Most people in my knit along have told me that they're planning to knit second and third Rifts. Some people use my knit along as an excuse to knit a second or third Rift, so it really is just a staple pattern that I think everybody should have. So that is it for this episode of the WIPdown. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again, patrons, for supporting me and allowing me to film extra content. So until then, I will see you next time. Bye!